Right now, we know that Ewan McGregor will be donning the famed cloak and lightsaber once more in just a few weeks' time. But that isn't the only thing for fans to get excited about. For some fans, Star Wars is just the gift that keeps on giving, and they'll lap up any chance they have to take a trip to a galaxy far, far away. Well, good thing for them then that there is so much more content on the way. I'm Amy from What Culture, and here are 7 new Star Wars TV shows that are in development. 7. Tales of the Jedi. At the moment, there's still quite a big air of mystery around what we're actually going to get in Star Wars Tales of the Jedi. This month's Star Wars Celebration promises to reveal more about this animated offering, specifically when the show has its own panel that's currently penciled in for the 28th of May. But for plenty of fans, the excitement is already sky high based purely off the fact that they know that Dave Filoni is involved. For those unaware, Filoni has been a key cog in the wheel of Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, The Mandalorian, and the Book of Boba Fett. So far as plot goes, we don't really have any details about it or any loose storyline to go off so much, but it is coincidental that the title of the show shares its name with the Dark Horse comics of the 90s. While the series could differ, the Tales of the Jedi comics were set thousands of years in the past. To be precise, the initial run of Tales of the Jedi took place during the Great Sith War of 3996 BBY, before then dropping back even further in time to the Great Hyperspace War. So as with most of these, we don't have any specifics yet, but we've got one big name that really matters and we're feeling pretty hopeful. 6. ANDOR. Centered around Diego Luna's Cassian Andor, Andor is one show in particular that Disney Plus watchers and fans of the franchise are really getting excited about. Initial anticipation for Andor was already high, but then the excitement was only amped up further when Disney boldly confirmed that the second season of the show was already in development, despite the fact that the series isn't even premiering until a date we don't have yet later in the year. Clearly, the House of Mouse has plentiful faith that this show is going to be a hit. Taking place 5 years before the events of Rogue One, it centers on the early days of the Rebel Alliance. Not only is Diego Luna back in the saddle as Cassian, but Forrest Whitaker will reprise his Rogue One role of Clone Wars veteran Saw Gerrera, whilst Genevieve O'Reilly picks up the Mon Mothma gig that she's had since Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Given how successful Rogue One was, Andor has great potential for becoming a standout series under the Star Wars IP. 5. AHSOKA. There are plenty of things to praise the Clone Wars for, but one of the hands-down best things that they did was introduce Ahsoka Tano. Debuting in 2008's Star Wars The Clone Wars, the movie then served as the launching point for the main show, and through this, Ahsoka became a hugely popular character in her own right. The Padawan of Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka eventually became a full-fledged Jedi Knight and fought in the Clone Wars and the Galactic Civil War. Appearances-wise, she later rocked up in Star Wars Rebels before the character made her live-action bow, as played by Rosario Dawson in The Mandalorian's second season. Subsequently, Ahsoka also appeared in the Book of Boba Fett and now has her own solo series on the horizon. Ahsoka Tano co-creator Dave Filoni is overseeing this series with The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett's ever-great Jon Favreau. 4. The Acolyte. It's going to be another one of those entries where details are kind of sketchy, kind of thin right now, but you're going to have to bear with us because this is all the information any of us have right now. What is known so far about The Acolyte is that Russian Doll co-creator Leslie Headland is serving as showrunner and lead writer, and the series will be taking place in a time and place rarely explored previously. In terms of the time period, it seems to be set in the latter days of the High Republic era, placing it in the continuum somewhere around 100 years before Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. If this is indeed the case, the Acolyte will play out in front of a backdrop where the Jedi Order is at the peak of its powers protecting the galaxy. On the other side of that coin, this could result in the villainous, pirate-like Nihil being positioned opposite the Jedi here. Created in 2018 as part of the huge Star Wars The High Republic cross-media project, the Nihil are a dominant, destructive race who look to rise up against the Jedi. Whilst it's far from confirmed, The Hunger Games' Amanda Stenberg looks like she might be in line for the lead role, and in terms of when we'll get this series, it's looking like it's going to be mid-next year at the earliest. But as we're illustrating in this list, there'll be plenty to tide you over until then. 3. LANDO. Another show that's very easily identifiable by its blunt title. Back in December 2020, LANDO was confirmed as being in development by Disney+. Whilst this Justin Simien-penned show will focus on the roguish Lando Calrissian, that's about as much detail as we have right now. I'm serious, that's all we have. We know who's writing it, and we know that it will probably be about Lando Calrissian. We don't know an actor, we don't know any of the story, the plot, who's going to be directing, who are the rest of the crew. We know nothing. Will veteran actor Billy D. Williams be back in the fold? Will Donald Glover pick up where he left off in Solo? Could we even get a series that features both actors at different times in Lando's life? It's all very possible. Given the current belief that Lando will likely come out after AHSOKA, the ACOLYTE, and ANDOR, we're looking at late next year, the earliest for when we might get our first taste of this, but they might release an earlier date sometime soon. 2. Grammar Rodeo. Now, some of you may be wondering, what kind of name is Grammar Rodeo for a Star Wars show? What does that mean? Where did that come from? And that is a very valid question to be asking. For those pondering that question, Grammar Rodeo is merely a working title for an in-development show. To give an idea of how this series is very much in the early stages of coming together, it was actually only announced this past February. Spider-Man Homecoming's Christopher Ford is on board to write and develop, whilst The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett's Jon Favreau is serving as executive producer. The two of them will then be joined by MCU Spider-Man director Jon Watts, as it's rumoured that he'll be helming at least one episode of the show. Loosely described as an 80s-inspired adventure offering, Grammar Rodeo will take place after the events of Return of the Jedi. Again, like Tales of the Jedi, this is a series that's expected to have more revealed about it at Star Wars' Celebration in a few weeks' time. 1. Other future projects. Whilst there are 6 brand new Star Wars TV shows on the way, plus Obi-Wan Kenobi premiering on the 27th of May, I think, and also a 3rd season of The Mandalorian underway, there really is endless scope for the future of Star Wars content. Star Wars Celebration isn't just an event used to further hype up projects. It's also a convention that's been used before to make surprise announcements about brand new shows and movies. With this in mind, it's not totally unrealistic. In fact, I'd say it's pretty reasonable to expect that they're going to be making some big announcements concerning things we already know about, or maybe even things that we don't. When the celebration rolls around at the end of this month, we're looking for the possibilities for any new offerings. Could Hayden Christensen's stints as Darth Vader in Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka eventually lead to the fallen Anakin story getting dived into in the character's own show? How about fan favourite Chewbacca and his Wookiee brethren getting to take centre stage? Maybe fans will even finally get to see the infamous Grand Admiral Thrawn stepping out into a live-action setting. Likewise, could the story of Star Wars Rebels' Ezra Bridger get more developed on it? Might the video game characters like Jedi Fallen Order's Cal Kestis or the Force Unleashed Starkiller get more time in the sun? It is completely reasonable to think that any of this could come to pass when the celebration rolls around later this month, so just wait. As we say, the possibilities are literally endless, so just keep an eye out on what's happening, and don't worry, we will keep you updated here on the Star Wars channel. So actually, on that note, we've reached the end of this list. Which one of these shows are you the most excited about? Let us know in the comments down below. And remember to check out whatculture.com for more lists and articles like this every single day. As always, I've been Amy from What Culture, and I'll catch you next time.